Hi, hello, vanakkam, namaskar, and welcome to season 2 of my podcast series, The People I Meet. My name is Shruti Vijay Kumar Vasant. I'm a radio jockey from Chennai, and on today's episode, I am going to be introducing to you someone from Chennai who is synonymous with the word fitness. So, unfortunately, I think there's been a stereotype that's existed for a very, very long time that the words gym, fitness, weight training, all of these words have been associated with the male gender. But here is someone who has broken all of those stereotypes and has established herself as one of the most sought after fitness trainers here in Chennai. I'm also very, very happy to share with you that she's also my coach who's gotten me onto a fitter lifestyle and is someone I relate to and have a lot of very fun conversations even outside of the gym because we share a common zodiac sign. I'm very, very happy to welcome onto my podcast the very, very talented, the very fun Sheba Devaraj. Hi Sheba, how are you?
Hi Shruti, I'm good. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
I'm very, very excited to share a lot of interesting things about your journey with my listeners. So first up, I know that you are somebody just like me who's had a varied interest in a lot of different things, right? Fitness has always been there. It's been a part of your life. It's been a part of your journey. But before you, embarked on this full-fledged fitness journey, you were also a gamer. You were involved in developing video games at one point. You were a journalist. You were writing a lot of different articles and all of these things, right? So let's go back to the beginning and let's just talk a little bit about how that career path sort of started off for you.
Okay, so my career as such was into writing only. So I started off as a reporter and then I was doing a lot of technical writing. And the domains that I wrote for were all different. So I was doing a lot of ERP, CRM, and I got to do the regular stuff. And then I moved on to this very interesting company called Bali. And that's where the gaming came. So I was making games for casinos basically. So games for slot machines. That was like a very, we never expected something like that, but it was a very fun job making games. And I was managing the Australia and the Macau market. So making games specifically for them was very interesting.
Right.
So that was only like basically like my job as a writer became something like a game producer there. And it was a very different sort of an experience for me as a game producer in Bali, but I didn't stay on for a long time. So that was the story with Bali. Maybe 2 years in as a game producer.
Right. But again, the reason why I'm asking you these questions, right? Because very often when we have these conversations with people, right, they automatically tend to stereotype us into certain professions. It's something that's existed for a very, very long time. I know that with the current generation, that's sort of broken down a lot and we've progressed on to, so many different things. Today, when we say that women are mountain climbers or women are, race car drivers, it doesn't seem like a very out of the box thing anymore because we see a lot of wonderful people out there doing it and proving to the world that women can handle anything that's thrown at us. So when you were sort of into that, space, what was the sort of challenge you faced during that time? Was there something that was very blatantly obvious?
As a game producer or when I was transitioning?
Both.
There was a lot of, so as a game producer also I had a lot of challenges because I had a lot of co-producers with me. They were also women, but I don't think I was very similar to them. So I was always very outspoken. So things don't go very well for people like that, right? So it just wasn't the same way. It wasn't very good, but it was a very, very nice, challenging job as such. But this challenge, yes, it was there. I was even asked by my not the direct reporting manager, but another manager called and said that wearing trousers and a shirt was not formal, and wow. I was called. And I was born saying that was not a formal outfit. I always wore Western formals. I also wore saris and salwars, which they were okay with, but not this.
Right.
So I was actually, but not that I listened to them, but this is something that happened when I was working there. But yeah, but the real challenge was not in just wearing clothes or whatever it is, but working along with the men folk is really hard thing. So there is a lot of politics and all that happen almost everywhere, right?
Right.
So
no, yeah, that is a part and parcel of every sort of, job or career that we take up, because I think each job or each space that we work at also teaches us a lot of these life skills. It's not essentially what we do at work, but it's also these bonds and these networks that we sort of connect with. But from that sort of a stage, right, moving on to a primarily, as much as I hate to say it, primarily a field that people associate with the male gender, right? Fitness, like I was saying, usually people, I think even yesterday on my stories, I had shared something about how people associate weight training with men. And they think women should do like cardio, they should do like, go to the gym and do aerobics, and they should just be content with all of those things. But you are somebody who's broken that. You've been a successful runner, you've had podium finishes, you've also, participated in powerlifting competitions and championships. So take us through that transition journey for you, from being a writer to then moving on full-fledged into fitness.
Okay, so here's something which I've actually not shared to most people maybe. But while I was in Bali, I was also into racing, which means kart racing. Oh. So that was not something which everybody did. So I used to be like the only female on the track, and we used to do kart racing, amateur racing, participate in actual races without my mom's knowledge. So I was doing that for a couple of years. Maybe 2.5 years, we did proper racing. We trained for it. And we did proper track racing with higher BHP karts, along with some very well-known people also who actually, are doing very well these days. But we were still amateurs. So I think from then on, my take towards some sport was always very strong. So while I was also a runner, I was also drawn into doing something else like karting. And then after having a series of injuries, rib injuries, then I had to kind of stop. Plus also it's a very expensive sport. So I kind of stopped, moved on to being a proper runner, and I started running more and more marathons like that. But even while running, I didn't run to win. I was just running because I like to run. So I was doing that. But somewhere down the line, even though I got another job after Bali, my interest was kind of tipping towards fitness. So I started studying to be a trainer just for my own understanding. I just started studying. So I went for my first kettlebell certification, and then I studied for ACE. So I went to a place, took guidance from somebody else, and then studied to clear the exam. And then I took a long time to actually do it. So it was not like I just went and wrote it and cleared it like that. So I took some time because I wanted to, like a kindergarten thing, you need to clear that for you to move on to first standard. So I wanted to first understand everything, and that's how I got started. And I realized after that, I don't think I was ever going to turn back from that. Though I love to write, and I still write. And I thought that would be my future journey, is what I thought. So way back then, I started, after I completed my ACE, I started my small group classes around my house in small parks with 3-4 people, and that's how I started fitness sessions. And then I understood that maybe I need to focus on one particular thing which would probably help everybody. So you can't do something without an ideology, right? So I picked on strength as something that's very critical for women. So that's how I started to focus and channelize everything on just that specific thing.
Right. And it's not been an easy journey for you. I think we've had several conversations where we've spoken about, again, the stereotypes that society sort of places on us as women. And we being such strong liberals at heart, it is sort of difficult for us to navigate through those, experiences and come out feeling like, okay, I did the right thing that was working out well for me without offending anybody in the process, because that's something I think we personally feel very strongly about.
I feel that.
And we spend a lot of time over obsessing about. But getting to talk about this fitness journey, right? Like you said, it's not like, something that you just spur of the moment decided to do. You went ahead, did the proper certifications, studied, did a lot of research, and then you came up with the idea of building your brand today, which is celebrated a year. Congratulations on that, which is Creed. Right? So tell us a little bit about that process, because every stage in your life has had a very clear demarcation. There's been something that's been sort of pushing you towards, building that dream of yours. So take us through that process. How did it work out for you?
So Creed, I never really planned for it. So this is like some unplanned child. Okay. So I was thinking of, because I was a freelance trainer, I'd go to other gyms and train. Space was a lot of problem because I was training a lot of women. And then you had a lot of these men walking in and taking space. It was very tough. And I couldn't get hold of all the equipment that I wanted to. So I thought maybe I should have my own space. But I really didn't build over that thought until a space came by. And then I thought, let me just try it. And that's how the entire process started. It's not like I really wanted to, but it just kind of fell in place. I looked for some loans. I looked for some help and things like that. So once everything was sorted, then I set up the space only for Corona to come and spoil the entire thing in a month. But yes, the thing is, the process was a long drawn process of going from bank to bank, checking for loans and things like that. And then Creed happened. So Creed also, the way the gym itself is made is so close to me because the rig and such were all designed by me. I made sure that everything that I wanted was the way I wanted. So it's really close to me because even though I never planned for it, of course you have to name a child, right? And bring up the child. So it was born out of no plan. But yeah, it just, and then after that, of course I fell in love with that baby. It's like that.
It's so interesting how we brought about the baby analogy into, the fitness form of life. But yeah, that's generally, for anybody who's listening, that's how our conversations are. Even when we're at the gym and we're, doing like this really difficult deadlift, I'll be having this stern expression on my face and wanting to kill Sheba, but then she'll be like, no, it's for the greater good. Right? And speaking of the greater good, today I think a lot of people have benefited. And here I don't use the gender disparity at all. I know a lot of people from a lot of different age groups across, varied cultures, ideologies come to you for training, right? So very often when people get off on this gym journey or they want to start off their fitness journey, there are some frequently asked questions that usually get on everybody's nerves, right? But as a trainer, what do you sort of tell people when they embark on this journey? And what do you wish more people knew and understood?
I think they should just stop trying to know more and understand in the first place. Because there's so much of information that you actually wouldn't know what's what. So if I were to go to a doctor, if I have a migraine and I were to go to a doctor, I should just go with an open mind that I have a migraine. I'm going to a person who knows how to diagnose and treat a migraine. So that way it's a lot easier for both of us, right? It's good to know stuff, but it's not, I'm not saying it's not right to know more stuff, but it's actually good to know what you should know and nothing more. You have to have that open mind. A lot of, as you know, we've got like a kid, like a 12-year-old kid to somebody who's much older, like in their 40s. But a lot of people who know more, they ask you questions out of their curiosity because their friends would have done something. And so they'll keep asking, why am I not losing weight? It's already like 3 days. Why haven't I lost weight? And I'll be like, 3 days is too short a period to lose the amount of weight that you're looking for. Right. So basically, they're in a hurry to do stuff. Also, all the fats that come up, like a keto or a paleo, it's all used for specific purposes. It doesn't suit everybody. So why should everyone do the same thing? So most questions are on diet. On can I do keto? Can I do IF? Is the most number of questions. A lot of women, right now, I don't have anybody like that, but I've heard a lot of people asking me questions like, I've got like arm fat, I've got like tummy fat, how can I reduce that? So now spot reduction also again is not possible. So we have to work entirely on your body to have an aesthetic look.
Right. So these are things that very often we get asked, right? And I think somewhere this vanity is fueled heavily by social media, right? As much as we like to say that we are in a state of bliss and we're very happy being filter free and all of that, we know the reality, right? The harsh reality does exist, and sometimes it's very blatantly obvious, to our face. And people are out there telling you, buy this, do this, get on this diet, get on this fad, you can, guaranteed results in 7 days and, all of that. So again, my question comes to, today in this social media filled world, it is very difficult to stand out and be unique. That is a given, right? Because you often see everybody hopping on the challenge, hopping on the trend, doing everything that sort of sets with the time. As much as I say and believe very strongly that we need to adapt and move with the times, I also want to know how we are contributing something unique to the world, right? So how do you feel, Sheba? You sort of stand out amongst your peers.
I think I'm just trying to be real here. So we're all people. We're all just plain humans. We're not like anything else. We're not robots. We're all humans. So we all have feelings. We all have one life. So I always feel that we need to, first of all, kind of embrace our lives. Embrace your body first. And embrace what's going on around you and within you first. So I always give priority to, that person's, even though I can't go in and understand everything, but to a large extent, I try to make sure that that person's mindset is perfectly in alignment with what we're doing that day. So I keep saying you need to be mindful of what you're doing, and I make sure that the environment is conducive for everybody. So I make sure that the workouts are good, the environment is good, and make sure that the people around are also equally amiable with each other. So ultimately, I feel the environment and what you do, they go very well, and you see good results mentally, physically when you have good people around.
Right.
I can't please the people, but obviously I can create a good environment for everybody. So I've noticed many times with even very, very, very hard workouts, people are actually okay doing it along with a good group of people. So that is how it is. Even you also, the last week's workout, that's what happened. So it's very good when you have somebody a partner around, and then you work out. It's very good. So I feel that a wholesome focus. So it's not like I'm just going to give you your workout and leave you at that. I feel that's not enough. I try to give a little bit more, so everybody at some point feel a little relaxed when they walk in.
Right.
And then they are they are able to concentrate on what they're doing. It just works so much better.
Absolutely. And I think, when we speak about environments, I think we've had this conversation where we've also spoken about it when it relates to the workplace as well, right? We always feel safe, or we feel comfortable in an environment which seems positive to us, whether it's our office, whether it's our home, whether it's the place that we go out to sort of, give us that stress relief, right? At the end of the day, fitness is a form of therapy for a lot of people. It's very underrated. I think a lot of people don't realize how important it is to sort of keep our cells healthy, both physically and mentally. But getting back to talking about these environments, Sheba, see, you've seen it all, right? Right from, especially keeping in mind that we're talking about Chennai. And Chennai is a very small circle, right? Everybody knows everybody. It's very hard to escape that fact. And we really don't know what everybody thinks of us in their minds from the pictures that other people, sort of create. But you've seen these different facets of the Chennai's fitness scene. So how do you think we've evolved, as a city over the past couple of years? Personally, what do you think?
I think there's a good and bad to this. So it's bound to happen in every industry, especially with the lockdown, which was not at all expected. So as much as there are trainers who have maybe improved on their education and they've gone on doing something more during the lockdown, there are also a lot of new ones who've mushroomed, not knowing what they're doing. So there's always a pros and cons when there is a sudden spurt of something new. So everybody thinks that I've had people calling me at least once in a week. I have somebody saying, what did you study? What can I do? But they're already doing something else. They want to do this part-time. So even if I were to guide them, their mind is not in this. They just want to do this because, online training is far simpler because you just have to pick out workouts from somewhere else and do it. But I feel that you can't be that careless either. So, there is a market for everybody. So, everybody is coexisting for now, but there will be a phase where, things will stabilize, I suppose.
Right. Yeah, and the environment, I feel, from where we've started off, maybe about 20 years ago, the like you said, there have been so many different spots that have mushroomed over the city. And now with everybody sort of getting onto the fitness bandwagon, I think everybody sort of understood how important it is. And it's not about, starting at any point. right? People earlier used to think, okay, at 40s, do I want to put myself through this? Do I want to start something really heavy? But today we see so many wonderful role models. I think there was also a video of a 82-year-old party who does like deadlifts and all of that, right? So it's just proving to us again that age is just a number. So talking a little bit about this industry, right? Fitness. It comes with a lot of advantages and disadvantages. And being a woman, definitely holding your own in an industry such as this is not easy. So personally, for yourself, you've seen your growth, you know how far you've come. What do you think are 3 things that you wish you had learned earlier? Right? Because we always have those moments. We think, if I had known this earlier, I could have worked on it and done something. So 3 things that you wish you had known earlier and that you could have corrected maybe at the beginning. And 3 things today where you feel you're very comfortable. I think I made the right choice. I think I'm in the right mind space. So what do you think would be those 3 points, the good and the bad from your journey so far?
Okay. The 3 things that I wish I had known before was like that money was so important. I never realized that having lots of money means a lot. So I've always earn money, spend money, and I've been like that. I never realized.
You're odd.
I wish I had realized that I had to save some money for something like this. So that's one thing I want to kick myself for. Another one is that you can't really trust everybody. So I was thinking you can. Same industry people, you can talk, obviously you just cannot trust everybody, and everyone wants to be courteous, but no one's your friend. So I was always friendly, and so I didn't know the border or how to draw a line. That I don't know whether I'll ever learn, but yes.
That's a very hypothetical question. I'm sorry.
So that's one thing that I think I should probably try hard to not do that. Another one is probably talking to people, to clients when maybe I wouldn't know to draw a line between being very over-friendly or this. But I learned down the line to maybe, to talk to them in a little bit more professional way, which we cannot. At some point, you just cannot do that. Right. But in a small setup like mine, it's okay to do it. In a large setup, probably you just can't.
Yeah.
So it's okay, but the money part is something which I'm always dreading. The other 2 are something maybe I should learn and try to correct myself. But I have the same 3 points that I'm actually glad. So the money I'm learning now. I've taken some help, so I'm learning how to manage that. And in terms of managing people and not trying to do this thing, also I'm learning. But other than that, what I'm learning to do is the most important thing is not to worry about others, because I always thought I had to go run and make up with somebody else because they'd feel bad because I started my own premise. So that's what I was doing all the time, trying to go make up with people. So because they shouldn't feel bad, I started my own premise, which is really wrong because I also need to have my own space. I also need to grow, and for which I don't need to apologize.
Right.
So that's something I learned, and I'm very glad that I'm in that space where I'm not running around to tell people, hey, I'm sorry because I have my own space. It's not like that so.
Yeah, that's been quite a growth, right? Because it's not very easy. We feel that we need to sort of make up for the things that have happened and sort of apologize and try to be the bigger person and all of these things, Like I said in the beginning itself, Sheba and I are both Librans, and it's very difficult for us to wrap our heads around this reality, but we're trying. We're always a work in progress. But I also want to ask you this question, Sheba. You were talking about, working on mind space. Right? Very often, I've heard this and I think of late I've been experiencing and understanding the connect between your mental health and your physical health. Right? So how do you sort of bring about that approach in your clients? Because I think it's equally important to understand how well your body works, but it's important to talk about, your mental health and the statement that you said. It's okay to ask for help. That's really important, right? So as a trainer, as somebody who comes from the fitness line, what do you sort of want to tell people?
So almost I've met so many people with some background issues. So their parents would probably come and leave saying, listen, this is happening, so you have to take care. So invariably, it's not just one person or two people, all of us have something going on in our lives. So now, first of all, we need to understand that. Secondly, when somebody walks into the gym, I already can figure out, you will know, right, if a person is feeling okay, not okay. Now, if I've done this course on cognitive behavioral therapy, and I try to kind of use some to help people. So when they really require help, I do. I'm not like a complete, like a therapist or something, but I know I can understand and work on it. Now, so mental health and physical health are so very well knit together that if you don't take care of one, it's going to be like a problem. So more than everything, I also tell people, keep emphasizing on eating right. So that plays a very, very important part in your mood. And keeping your mind fatigue and warding off all this bad mood, everything, eating right really helps a lot. So I try to tell people, even though I don't give out customized diet for everybody, I do tell people try to manage eating healthy, try to eat right, so that really plays a big role in your creating that right mental balance for you. So as much as workout, your food, everything really plays a good role in keeping your mental balance also. Right. So when a person comes in, I kind of try to make sure that some of them actually request a certain workout because it helps them in a certain way. To, maybe, I can't specifically say because it's a client's info, but they really do ask me for specific workouts because it helps them in a specific way for their mental health. So I give them that. So I know very well that this workout given on this day is going to help the clients feel really good. So I work around it like that, and it just works that way.
Right. And I think today, the focus on understanding that connect, like you rightly said, the mental health and the physical health is something that is, sometimes we don't realize it. We often then later on think, oh, okay, I feel good today after I've worked out. Maybe it's going to help me. Like I said, fitness is one of the most underrated form of therapy that a lot of people sort of are now leaning on. Right? And I think it's so important that we talk about it and we start normalizing the fact that women love to work out, women love to lift weights, women like to do these things because it makes them feel stronger. So getting to this point of women being in business, right? You had mentioned earlier about how it was a long process trying to find the right banks that would give you the loans, trying to find the right sort of help, because everyone wants to help you, but not everyone wants to see you do better than them. That is something that is a very...
Nobody wants to do is the right line. So, but it's in a way very good that nobody actually helps, because you know that it's all your work and you feel much peaceful rather than somebody saying, hey, listen, I did this for you.
So you do this back for me. Right. Yeah, but the reason why I was sort of asking you that question is, as women, right, we find it very, very uncomfortable sometimes to ask for help, or sometimes to put the question out there, because we sort of wonder, what if things go wrong? Right? I'm sure you've had those moments, and especially coming from the sort of entrepreneur journey that you've had with all of these different things, being a salaried employee, being a writer, having, worked in very male dominated sort of, industries. How did you as a woman sort of, and I don't mean this in a very sexist way, but I just want to know how you sort of pushed through and maneuvered through those experiences.
I don't think it was easy, but I didn't realize it until I finished it. Because to every event, they refused the loan saying that I was single, and I needed to have at least a father or a brother or a boyfriend or a boy as a friend. I had none. So it was very hard because I never realized. So I went to almost 14 banks and everybody said the same thing until this bank agreed. But then it was a shocker to me that, okay, this is how it works, that if you don't have... so I asked one of the managers saying that, so if I had a husband who's a drunkard, how do you think he's going to pay you back? I would pay you back. So you don't trust me and you trust some man to pay you back. He's saying, why can't you give a friend's name? So I said, why would I want to give a friend's name to you? So how does it? So they just want a man's name. So that part was still very, very shocking that at this point in time, they're asking you questions like that. So that was very tough. But then just not that, while talking to vendors wouldn't respond to you properly. They, I don't know, for some reason they just wouldn't respond to you properly, and they already started spreading news saying that somebody else was buying stuff for me. So it was not easy, and I came to know it through someone else. That,
right.
They're saying, hey, that somebody else is funding you. I'm like, yeah, right. Just show me that somebody, I'll take the money. But it's not. So they can never agree that somebody is doing it single-handedly. They'll have to link you to someone. They'll have to say that somebody's giving money, but they would never appreciate. Then I realized that this is the setup. This is the stereotype. You can't break it. You just have to live your life and just don't bother about what they say, because they're going to keep talking. So at every juncture, I keep meeting men, and I have to interact with them for something or the other. And this is the entire circle that I have to go through.
Right. And yes, unfortunately, that is the way things are sort of, proceeding even in the sort of space that we are in today. Right. It's quite blatantly unfair to us as women, I feel, in 2021, that we've had to battle with these stereotypes and try to break them as often as we can, umpteen number of times. The journey is a lot harder when instead of being male, we're female, and we're made to sort of believe that that's the right path to go on, or we need that particular support system. Everyone needs a support system, but why does it have to be that we need to lean on a particular member of the family or a particular member of this gender to sort of get us through life? Is a question that I'll never sort of have an answer to, or a question I'd rather not answer. Because I feel like, women, we just do it. We just show that, okay, listen, we can do it on our own. We just need you to sort of give us that support, sort of encourage us. And even if you don't, it's fine. Just don't make our battle harder than it already is. Right, so it's been quite an interesting sort of journey. We've spoken about so many different things, Sheba. We've spoken about the pros and cons of being a woman entrepreneur, what all goes on in, this journey, what all we have to sort of maneuver through to get to where we are. And to be very honest, I think you've set a very strong example for a lot of people out there to just follow your dreams, to follow your passion, and go at it with a sort of, I would use the word vengeance, but I think go at it with a sort of a strong determination, because it takes quite a lot to get to where you are, right? And nothing in life comes easy. We've sort of understood that, and I think 2020 has put a lot of things into perspective for all of us. So personally, Sheba, for you, keeping aside the whole entrepreneur sort of, thing, I want to know, in your personal journey, how you feel you've evolved. 3 things that you think have been your biggest strengths, and 3 things that you feel have been your weaknesses that you've sort of promised yourself you're going to work on and sort of learn from that. So personally, what is it that has made Sheba Devaraj the person that she is?
I think for some parts, I just don't give up that easily. So even if I feel low, or if I feel like, okay, this is not going on well, I somehow work harder on it. So I've always been a hard worker and somebody with a never give up attitude sorts. Not somebody with so much of a vengeance, but I can just go on doing what I have to do, and I'll work hard at it. So whether it's studies or whether it's whatever it is, I only had to work hard. I wasn't very smart. So I think I just still work hard at some stuff. So that's one thing. Yes, I work very hard towards whatever I require. Another thing is that I believe in God a lot. So even though that's one of my biggest strengths. So even though it's something that you can't see, I have a lot of faith. So I believe that if this is what is meant to be, then God will take me through. So I always believe, wake up in the morning, say a prayer, and I do it. And I know that this is going to happen for good. So whether it's good or bad, I always just believe in God and just go ahead and do that. So I think God has been like one of my biggest strengths. So apart from me being a little bit of giving some hard work in whatever I do. And thirdly, I think I like people. So as much as I'm afraid of people, I like people. So that's been worked to my advantage to some extent. So I like to communicate with people. I like to meet a lot of new people, all that. So I think at some point I really did want to make a difference in people's lives. And so that I think has always been a streak in me always. So this liking people also has been a strength for me. So these are the 3 strengths I'd say.
I think that's a very strong, strength to have, because if you don't have that connect, and I've said this quite a number of times, each person comes with a very different sort of mindset, a different personality, and it's not very easy to sort of, even if you don't like that person, right? Not always we have to agree with somebody on the things that they say, right? But being a trainer, being in the position that you are, you still go ahead and put a smile on your face and say, you know what, this is what it is that you've got to do to get through your workout, right? And I think that's very important. Sort of understanding what somebody wants is a very big sort of responsibility. And I think that definitely is one of your strengths. I agree with you on that, Sheba.
Yes. And weaknesses, procrastination is one, which I wish
Welcome to the club.
So that's one thing that I am working on. So even if I download it and write and do everything, I'll still procrastinate. So that's one thing. This is a very honest thing. So that's something I work on, and I try to. Another maybe overthinking is another, which even before something, I'll already draw something in my mind that this could be the reason that this is probably not happening or something. I'm not sure if it's most of us are like that, and I know we bring to the professional part, but generally we are like that. So you can't think that way, because what you see is what you get. But otherwise it's something like that. And thirdly, yes, one thing is that I've had a lot of ups and downs with friends. So now I am not sure whether I should go and make new friends. So my thing is that as much as I love people, I'm also
afraid of people.
Yeah, so that is another thing. So even if somebody approaches me, I'm like, okay, and then I'll just put them on hold sorts.
Right. No, but I think that is something that we learn as we mature with the years, right? The experiences that we have sort of makes us very wary of people. And as much as we as Liberals want to be people pleasers, and we want to have everybody on our good side, and we want to balance the scales and make sure that, it's always the good things and we look at the positives. Sometimes it does get to us and we feel like, for our mental health and for our mental peace, inner peace is something that's very, very important to us. And we just feel like, you know what, I like you, but I think I'm just going to put you on hold and keep you there. It's for your benefit and mine as well.
Whatever you do, whether you're good or bad to a person, you're good or bad to them only until they think you're good or bad. So the moment they, you stop helping them or you stop being nice to them, then you're bad. Then they start talking something bad about you. So again, you feel like shocked, like, oh my gosh, she was my friend till last evening or something like that. So so I also learned that, doesn't matter what others are, you just be what you are, but also draw a line so you don't hurt yourself. So I know all. So if you're going to be doing, so I also realized that I do things for others, and then even if you don't expect, you will actually want them to be a part of your circle in some way, right? If they don't give back, then you're upset. So now I'm trying to not give much and not bother to take anything from anybody. So it's a very personal learning experience and a process, which I think will take a while.
And I think we all go through that. We all have our own personal learning curves. We all have those phases. We all have those sort of, personal experiences that make us who we are at the end of the day. And I think that's something that we're all working on. If any human says that I'm 100% perfect, I think I'm 100% right. I don't think they are people to be trusted, because I think all of us are work in progress. All of us are working every single day on our pluses, on our minuses, on our strengths, on our imperfections, to sort of be the best versions of ourselves. And we're doing it more so for us rather than getting it from external validation. So I think it's a very important point that you sort of put forth, and I think that's a beautiful way to sort of wrap up this podcast today as well, because we've spoken about a lot of different things, and I truly hope, like I said earlier, you've inspired a lot of people to get onto the fitness bandwagon, and you've been such a wonderful person to interact with, not just at Creed, but even outside of it. And I wish and pray that, you inspire a lot more people and you change a lot more of our lives for the better. So thank you so much, Sheba, for being you and for being this amazing person. I wish you and Creed all the very best. I hope you had a wonderful time sharing your experiences with me today.
Thank you, Shruti. I don't think I've ever shared this much in a public platform. So that's quite a lot. This is so I did feel good because I'm sharing it for a good cause. So people who listen to it will know that that I'm again another human. So it's actually very, very nice of you to have actually called me for this. Thank you so much, Shruti.
It's my pleasure. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of today's episode. This is my podcast series, The People I Meet, Season 2. I can't believe that we're already here and we've had so many wonderful guests sharing their stories with us. So today my guest was Sheba Devaraj. She is a fitness coach. She is the founder of Creed. It's a wonderful place. If you are looking to embark on your fitness journey, you can look her up on all social media handles as Coach Sheba. So with this, like I said, we come to the end of the episode. I will meet you with yet another interesting guest and yet another interesting story. So many more different things to share on The People I Meet. This is me, Shruti Vijay Kumar Vasant, saying tada, bye-bye, take care, see you, and thank you for tuning in. Take good care of yourself and stay safe.